Welcome to the fourth series of a four-part series on well-being, a reconceptualized skill. This series, titled Bidirectional Highways, is presented in two episodes. In this first episode, we will talk about brain and body bidirectional highways. In the second episode, we will discuss the biology of innate goodness. Before we begin our episode today, I want to remind you to continue to ask yourself two foundational questions throughout this four-part series. The first question is, why is it that some people are more vulnerable to life's slings and arrows and others are more resilient? The second question is, how can we nurture this quality and promote more human flourishing to promote more resilience? Now, let's talk about how our brains can regulate systemic biological systems and how alterations in the body will provide feedback to and impact the mind and the brain. So, it is through these bidirectional highways that we now have evidence to show that high levels of well-being are actually associated with better physical health. The data, which I will present in a moment in this series, are very clear. Some of the best research comes from studies of large epidemiological samples where there is no doubt of this association. But precisely how or what the mechanisms are, that is still very much being investigated. But the fact that they exist, these mechanisms that is very clear. And so this invites the suggestion that cultivating well-being through transforming our mind will change the brain in ways that can impact the body. This may have beneficial consequences for our physical health. It also enables us to think about how alterations in the body through various body-oriented therapies and practices may feed back to and influence the mind and the brain in ways that are beneficial. In essence, high levels of well-being not only influence our psychological well-being, but also influence our biology below the neck in ways that are consequential for health. Who knew? Large epidemiological studies, as I mentioned earlier, like the research study titled Optimism and Its Impact on Mental and Physical Well-Being by Carbasano and others, dated 2010, show that individuals who report higher levels of well-being are physically healthier. It doesn't mean that this is true for everyone. There will be, of course, exceptions. But if you look at tens of thousands of people, this is what you see. And so it leads to conjecture that promoting well-being will actually change our systemic biology, which will influence our physical health. And so one of the implications of this is cultivating well-being will lead to decreased healthcare utilization and decreased healthcare costs. And if we can actually show that, every organization on the planet will want to incorporate this into what they are doing. Who knew? Stay tuned for the second episode of this fourth series. And if you haven't watched the previous three episodes, you can simply click on my IGTV to access each. Until then, namaste, and hoping you're enjoying a beautiful day wherever you are.